Hey, I'm Justin Morrow, Executive Director of Black Players for Change. We got Mark Anthony Kaye from LAFC here. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good, man.
Doing
Glad
all
to
right?
be sitting down with you. Yeah, man, of course.
Feeling good after Wednesday, getting ready for the game coming up?
Yeah, it's finally when you're here, you understand that you have a job to do. So
Yeah.
you just got to get back to it, considering the circumstances are not the best. But yeah, we're all excited to play a game.
Me too, man. Me too. I want to follow up a little bit after Wednesday and dive a little bit into your background and hear your thoughts. When I first got to Canada, one of the first questions that I got was, where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
And that threw me off a little bit because usually in the United States, people ask, oh, what do you do? What's your job?
Yeah.
And being from the United States, I don't even know. My dad's black, my mom's white, and that's what I always tell people.
Yeah,
But they're
yeah.
like, well, no, where are you from? So tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah, so it's funny that you said that. Obviously, I'm from Toronto, Canada. I know why Canadians, especially people in Toronto, ask that question. It's such a diverse city, so people are always, begging to find out what cultural background you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Growing up, we had every type of race and ethnicity in our schools. So, you meet someone new, and just because of their skin color, you can't guess what their background is. So that's why people ask right away, where are you from? And it's funny you say that because I've said that to people here once I've moved to America, and they're like, well, I'm just American, and I'm just like, no, like, come on, like, give me more. So it's funny that you said that. I don't know why that's a Canadian thing or a thing in Toronto, but it's just always looking to dive deeper into someone's roots to get an understanding of where they originated from.
Yeah, that's right. So how did you find growing up in Canada? You mentioned that you're from Toronto. Did you feel comfortable there? Did you face any overt racism or maybe more subtle ways?
Yeah, so growing up in Toronto, for me it was mostly good. Like, I don't have that many stories where, I really faced racism. I probably saw it on a systematic level, very small in a sense. I started to realize even the apartment building I grew up in, and I grew up in a nice area in Toronto, but I could tell that what's the word I'm looking for? But the description of majority of the people who lived in that building were all kind of the same. Mm-hmm. And I started, now that I have more awareness and education on the idea that there is such thing as redlining in that sense, I look back at it and I see that, a lot of the people in that building, they were, immigrants, and they didn't have money that much. And, my mom did really well for what she had to, raise 3 boys. But now when I look back at it, I see that there are the same things that happen here in the US, there in Canada, and maybe there's just not enough light on it. So you just go through your life not even thinking about it,
Yeah.
From the standpoint of just, walking on the street every day, I never really experienced racism that much. In school, there was a couple incidents I remember in high school where a group of my friends, there were 2 girls who were black, and they had experienced some racism from some of the white kids in the school. I went to a predominantly white school. And, even then, I didn't have a true understanding of what racism felt like because it wasn't directed to me. And I think that's something that a lot of people are having trouble with accepting right now because it's never happened to them, and they don't know how to join this fight if it's not something that they feel is deeply rooted to their life. Mm-hmm. And I had been susceptible to that, but nah, man, I think for majority of the time in Toronto, it was pretty good. Not much racism.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Growing up in Cleveland, I was kind of on the edge. I mentioned that my dad's black and my mom's white, and so I always felt in between. I went to a lot of schools that were full of white people, and I never felt fully accepted by the black community and never fully accepted by the white community. So I can connect on that level what you're saying. You don't really feel the overt racism there, but it happens in more subtle ways.
Yes.
And you talk about the education, and part of that education has been me moving to a place like Toronto where it's so diverse and I feel very comfortable. And you had that education first when you moved out of Toronto to Louisville.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that experience? I think that was your first experience moving outside of Toronto and living outside of the country and going to the United States.
Yeah, it really opened my eyes. Toronto prepared me to be a good person in the way I deal with people. You know what I mean? And just be accepting of all different types of religion, ethnicities, races. Don't look at anyone with prejudice, anything like that. But that's not always the case on how people will see you. And when I went to Louisville, yeah, I didn't know where it was before I even moved there.
Crazy how that happens.
So when I got there, I don't remember who I had the conversation with, but there was a couple teammates letting me know that like you have to be careful about certain things you do. It's not like Toronto. It's not this big city lifestyle where everything is accepted. You have to move a little bit more smart in a way, And I think my time there was pretty good. It was eye-opening, and I've been very lucky where I haven't had to directly experience racism where it's made me feel uncomfortable in a way where I want to get out of this situation. I tell this story all the time where I remember I was with a couple teammates, and I don't know if we had an appearance in Indiana just across the next state, and we ended up going to just a fast food restaurant, and I just remember seeing a bunch of people come in with Confederate flags on their cars and all that stuff, and I don't know the whole history of everything, but I just knew that was like alarm bells in my head. Like, okay, I'm not in my own town. I'm not in my own country. Right. You know what I mean? So I just tried to get my food and leave quickly. And, I don't think that now that I look back at it, it's not fair that I should have to feel that way because I'm not intimidating anyone. I'm not doing anything wrong. Mm-hmm. But that was the way I moved in Louisville. It was very like, you got to be safe about what you're doing. And, I was lucky enough to have good support group from my teammates who had been there longer. The club did a really good job. And I think that's the unfortunate thing for people who are not athletes or people of certain social status level. We get a lot of protection from the organizations that we are part of. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we don't experience racism like a normal black guy might experience, or a black woman, Mm-hmm. So I've been very lucky in that sense. And again, like I said, it just opened my eyes that there's a lot more work to be done within the country about people changing their perspective about everyone.
Absolutely. And you talk about that history that the United States has with racism, starting with slavery over decades and hundreds of years in the United States. And you're still learning about that. Now you moved on to LA. Mm-hmm. You're a leader on the field, off the field. We are living through a big moment in history right now. Can you tell me what it was like being in LA after the death of George Floyd and all the aftermath of that?
Yeah, so, I think like everyone else, I came across the video online, and at first I didn't watch the whole thing, and then I was like, maybe I should go back because there's a lot of noise about it. And just watching the whole thing just made me so upset. Like, had so much anger inside of me, and I always knew police brutality was a thing. In Canada, it's there too, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But here in the US, it is a severe problem. And after watching that video and just seeing, like, we're humans at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Yeah, someone's a criminal. They deserve to be punished underneath the law. That's normal, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there's too many times where black individuals are not allowed to even be prosecuted under the law. They die before it even gets to the hands of a jury or a judge, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just seeing how this cop did not care, had no emotion on his face, and the other cops around him just be bystanders and stuff, I was just upset with the whole situation, and I was just trying to think of ways that I can use my platform to, use my voice in a right way to direct people to understand that there needs to be some change, right? Being in LA, a big city that I think is so multicultural, and, I think LA on the world standpoint always wants to be a part of change, Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of that comes with the celebrities who live there, you know, the sports teams. It's just a city that people turn to a lot of the time.
Right, yeah.
And after George Floyd's death, with all the protesting and stuff, I started to realize that this anger that I have inside, millions of people have. You know what I mean? And at the beginning, it wasn't the best the way it went about. You know, things were getting burnt down and all that stuff. But, you know, it's just been years and years of suffering. And this is just people reacting to constant things that don't change. So I decided to get out there and be part of this protest because, you know, just because I'm an athlete doesn't mean that I'm sheltered to this lifestyle. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So I was there on the front line at the, you know, the mayor's office, all this stuff. And I just wanted to be with, you know, people I can call my brothers and sisters, not knowing them, but just being there and fighting for, you know, humanity. That's what it is at the end of the day. So for me, that was something I was never going to pass up on. There's no way I could just sit in my apartment and watch these people walk down the street fighting for me. You know what I mean? I have to fight with them and fight for our future, you know? So, yeah, being in LA has opened my eyes to a much broader range of multiculturalism. And, you know, I have such a good connection with, you know, the community there and the fan base there. Like, a lot of them are Hispanic, right? But they're still part of the minority group.
Right.
Like, me standing up for my group is standing up for their group. You know what I mean? So I will always take that opportunity. And it was just, it was very powerful to be a part of, and just to, you know, kind of just be a passing person in it. You know, no one knows who you are, and you're just walking next to strangers who are fighting for the same cause. So it was very important for me to be a part of it.
It must have been so powerful, and I'm glad you're able to get involved with that in your city. I had a different experience being up in Toronto. You know, I'm sitting there watching the news, watching the United States crashing and burning, and the riots and the protests happening, and I wasn't a part of it at all. Part of what I did as my cathartic process, I used all that pain and anger, and we came together on that first Zoom call as a Black player pool, and that's when we really decided that we needed this organization for ourselves. And so we shared that pain and anger, and we turned it into something positive. And part of that positive thing was the protest that we were able to do on Wednesday before the first match versus Orlando in Miami. It was one of the most memorable moments in my career. Can you talk us through a little bit about how you felt while being on the field and being an organizer for the Black group in LAFC, how it was like getting those players involved? Yeah,
so, you know, I heard about it first. Obviously, Richie is a teammate of yours, you know, a good friend of mine. And, you know, when he passed along the information to me, you know, I thought it was very powerful to start something like that, you know. And I always want to be a part of something powerful. It doesn't necessarily mean that it directly affects me, but I'm always up for change, you know? And just seeing how many people were so willing to come together so quickly to make something like this happen was amazing, you know? And it just shows you that we all have this deep-rooted connection to each other that maybe we don't talk about all the time, but it's there, you know? So that on Wednesday, it was just, it's almost like speechless. You don't have words for it. You know, it's like a moment where you just take everything in, and this is just a small fraction of what's going to happen, you know? And the fact that we can show solidarity and show that, you know, we have power and that we are willing to stand up to injustice was amazing. And it's almost like there was a moment when we were holding our fists up, and we held it up for a long time. Yeah, we did. You know what I mean? And at first, I was like, well, it's a long time. I don't know if I can do that long. But while we were going through it, and just every now and then looking up and seeing everyone else do it, it just gave me strength to push through it, you know? And I have my teammate beside me who might be struggling, might not be able to connect to a specific moment where someone didn't have the power to do what we're doing, and we're doing that for them. And I'm there trying to get him to understand, like, you got to keep going, man. Like, this pain right now is nothing compared to what people have had to do. And I don't know how many people have had that realization while they're holding their fist up, but that was mine. You know, it was just like, yeah, my shoulder's in pain, but this is nothing compared to what our ancestors have had to do, so that we have the freedom to do this, you know? So it's huge respect and appreciation to you for putting that together and to getting a strong group of Black individuals to put this together. But this is going to be the start of a massive movement. I think, us going out there and doing that, a lot of leagues will follow. And it might not just be in sports, it'll be in other industries too. People are going to start doing this. So I'm glad that we took the opportunity, and I'm glad that it came out so well, because it just shows that we have so much power and we just have to keep pushing forward.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's a very genuine and smart reflection. I felt the same way. That power that was on the field is only encapsulate just a little bit of what we're going to be able to do. Mm-hmm. So now moving forward, looking past maybe even this tournament, what change do you want to see maybe in your own city, maybe in Canada, in Toronto, maybe in Major League Soccer? What are you hopeful that the Black Players for Change will be able to do?
I think first and foremost, I think as a group, we need to create a strong support system for one another. Whenever someone's in need or, needs to talk to someone, they have us as a group, that they know they can come to and just be raw and honest, and we'll have their back. I think that's the most important thing at the beginning. Keeping our message strong is also very important, and continuing to push the boundaries. You know what I mean? For me personally, I've seen too much stuff go on in the US where things just get pushed under the rug, and I want to figure out a way to keep bringing light to these situations. There's too many cases where people are not getting justice. There's too many cases where we have people of power or people in positions of power who are racist, and people who are so used to old America. As long as these people stay in these positions, our fight is going to be much harder, and we're not going to give up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we need other people to work with us who have direct connection to those people in power. I think we need more elected members who are Black, within our cities. I think, we need more Black coaches in the league. You're telling me there's no qualified Black coaches? You have to show diversity on all levels. You know what I mean? Right. And we as MLS, and we're gonna question MLS, is sure, you guys are saying you're not racist, but you need to be anti-racist. You know what I mean? You need to show us that you're putting in these procedures to make sure that everyone has equal opportunity, And I think once we start that in our own league, it'll be a catalyst for other leagues. And like I said, we just have to keep going. We have power. That's the biggest thing. I think I realized when I went to this protest and I saw the people on the opposition, and not all of them might be on the opposition because they are truly against us, but maybe just where they stand on the line, they're on the other side. Mm-hmm. There's more of us. You know what I mean? Our voices are much louder, so we have to keep doing it in a smart and educated way. And that's all I really ask, and I just want to be a part of that and play my role, whatever it is. But I think we've done a good job to establish a good foundation early on.
You're right. You will be a part of it. We will continue to keep this fight going. We're not going to be silent. We're not going to stop here. We have power. We have arrived, like you said. Now moving the conversation a little bit to the field. Mm-hmm. Black Players for Change has been able to collaborate with Major League Soccer on a bunch of projects considering Black Lives Matter movement around this Orlando tournament. One of those things is the specialized armbands, where each club was able to make a captain's armband for the Black Lives Matter movement. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what the LAFC armband might look like and what that would mean to you to be wearing that?
Yeah, so we had a discussion in our group, and we just wanted to clarify that, the armband signified what we were fighting for. Not smacking an MLS logo on there, not smacking a club logo on there. And I was glad that was brought up, because I felt like it wouldn't have been brought to my attention if it wasn't. But that's the benefit of having this group. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. People are going to be pulling ideas out that you've never thought of, know? So for us, I spoke to the kit man. He's a great guy. And we have a design where it says Black Lives Matter, and it has all that it has to represent LAFC is the black and gold. We have made the black and gold an identity of the club. You know what I mean? And LAFC stands in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement, with all of us, Black Players for Change. So yeah, we've made it very simple and concise. It doesn't have to be too detailed. It just needs to get to the point. You know, people need to see it over and over to leave a message in their head. And, you know, if I had the opportunity to wear that would be amazing. You know, I think I'm always trying to, like I said, stand up for what's right, you know. And first and foremost, I want to be a leader on the field for my teammates. And I think they're starting to see that, you know, I have leadership qualities that go past the field, you know, that I'm not willing to stand for things that aren't going well in the world. So, you know, if that opportunity comes, that'll be a blessing. You know, I'm sure I'll make my mom very proud. You know, she's always watching us. She loves TFC. So, but yeah, that would be a great moment. Yeah.
Well, I hope it comes for you. You know, Mark, me and you, we have history. But going back to the TFC days, you've obviously moved on from there. Your career's looking bright. You're doing amazing things on the field. Unfortunately, this event has been what's brought us back together, but I'm happy to be standing alongside of you. I hope you all the best on and off the field. Keep on doing everything that you're doing. And is there any last words, anything that you'd like to say?
I would just like to thank you. You know, I think you've been a great leader to us younger players, you know. Being a good pro, being a good man, you know, being a good family man within the league for a long time. And the fact that you're Black and standing up for us, you know, it gives us hope that we can continue to do the right things. You know, you're going to leave it in a better place than you found it. And like I said, I just want to say thank you on behalf of everyone, because it's a lot of responsibility on you. It's not easy. I know that. I don't know if I'd be able to do what you're doing, you know. But other than that, you know, it's just the biggest thing I want people to understand is that it's okay to change your views. You know what I mean? It's okay to understand that maybe you weren't aligned in the right way you should be with humanity's values. It's okay. It's part of growth and change. I think perspective is so key in helping change the world. I think the more understanding we all have of everyone's differences, the better we will be as a world. But until that, if we still have people who are closed-minded and they're stuck in their own ways and say, this doesn't affect me, oh, this always happens, this comes around every 3 years and all this stuff, those people don't help. You know what I mean? So I think we just need to just be open. It's the easiest thing. You know what I mean? Just be open. You can still live your life, but just why not have a better life for everyone? So that's my message to everyone else. But thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk. And again, like I said, you're a big leader, so we appreciate you.
Thanks for the kind words, man. I give you a big dap right now, but you know we got the COVID protocols. But keep, like I said, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep speaking out. We will continue this fight, and there will be the change that we want to see.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Justin.